Russia stepping up its attacks on Kyiv as a series of strikes hit more neighborhoods in the capital city. Barrages of these bombs and missiles hitting 4 multi-story buildings, killing dozens of people and disrupting the relative calm that had returned following an initial advance by Russian forces that was stopped in the early days of the war. Our Robert Sherman has been on the ground in Europe covering the conflict for us. He joins us outside the 82nd Airborne Division base in Poland. Robert.
And Adrienne, as you said, the intensity of attacks hiking up across the border in Ukraine from the Russians. Well, we're starting to see the U.S. hike up its presence here in Europe. Behind us, the 82nd Airborne staging not far from the Polish border. 100,000 U.S. service members are now in Europe. That's the most since 2005 as the situation intensifies in Ukraine.
In recent days, an estimated 20,000 civilians have left Mariupol through evacuation corridors, but fighting and shelling has cut off critical routes. Evacuations today are in question. Roads, bridges, and railroads all destroyed, making it difficult for humanitarian workers to reach people in need of aid. Attacks on Kyiv continued through the evening. Firefighters had to rescue multiple people and put out fires after it was hit by shelling overnight. Russian strikes have been inching closer and closer to the city center, and with it, striking more residential areas. Russian troops have not moved from their positions about 10 miles away in recent days.
It was a huge fire here.
Kharkiv is Ukraine's second largest city and an important cultural icon. This building, built in 1899, now a medical site, was hit by a missile and burned overnight. Kharkiv has seen heavy fighting since the beginning of the war. Strikes have already destroyed blocks of homes, museums, schools, and more in a city loved for its architecture. Video from this week shows residents running for cover after Russian jets fly overhead and drop their payloads elsewhere in the city. But the Ukrainian resistance has been so fierce, U.S. defense officials believe Russia is trying to get more troops and supplies into Ukraine. That includes using foreign fighters or private military companies. These forces will be used to secure areas already under Russian control or to support new offensives elsewhere in the country. In an overnight speech, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says our heroes and our defenders are giving us time to negotiate. He adds peace talks are sounding more realistic, and any war ends in agreement. But the costs of this war are coming home more often for Ukrainians and Russians. In Lviv, loved ones gathered to honor the lives of 4 Ukrainian soldiers killed during an airstrike at a military base in Yvarov, one of the families having already buried another son earlier this month. On Tuesday, the prime ministers of Poland, the Czech Republic, and Slovenia traveled by train from Poland to Ukraine's capital city, into the line of fire despite safety concerns. The leaders claimed the meeting was to serve as a message that Ukraine deserves a place in the EU, but they stopped short of further pushing a future NATO membership, appearing to concede in the name of peace. As that happens, more and more refugees pour into Poland and surrounding countries. Long lines of women, children, and the elderly all wait for the chance to feel safe again.
And we all remember those heartbreaking images of the maternity hospital in Mariupol. Reportedly, another hospital has found itself right in the thick of it in that city. An intensive care unit reportedly taken control over by the Russian forces, and reportedly 500 people being held hostage there.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.